why does Sanders consistently beat Clinton when matched up against Republicans, but at best ties her head-to-head? Well, it suggests that there are some Republicans that would prefer Sanders to the candidates in their own field. Yet Sanders is, by anybody's admission, the most liberal person in Washington. So what the fuck? What the fuck? Well, that's just it. So you can partition the Republican Party into a few different components. You've got the religious right, it's socially conservative, the people that Cruz is trying to go after, even though they know he's full of shit, right? Then you've got the upper crust that's concerned about the low taxes, that's your Kasich types, right? And these are the people that, we think of as Republicans together, right? And they do compose the bulk of the Republican base. It's the, you get the, the gods and gun type, right? And then you've got the, just rich bastards that don't give a fuck, right? And to be fair, a lot of them they have a noblesse oblige or whatever else, right? But you've also got a more than measurable, in fact, you have a very sizable minority of right-libertarians that is growing. You may even call them South Park Republicans. I think that's the term. And they prefer the Republican Party because they see it as being less invasive on civil liberties. Now, the language is confusing and contentious, but these people are liberals from an ideological perspective. Okay? They might call themselves libertarians and attack liberals, but they're liberals. Okay? So, it's because he's a liberal. It's not despite it, right? The reason he does better with Republicans is because he's a liberal. And she's not. Okay? Now, this is upending all the conventional wisdom of the Reagan era, which Clinton is so intrinsically woven into. And I think the point is that it is. That something people need to realize is that the Reagan era is over. But the thing is that she spent her whole life trying to appeal to the silent majority of Reagan Democrats, what the spectrum has up to this point rather delusionally referred to as moderates. They're dead. They're all dead. They've been dead now for years. And what's coming up in their place is a really starkly libertarian electorate attached to both parties. Okay, you've got the left libertarians, attached to Occupy, and then you have your right libertarians, your South Park Republicans, right? These are caricatures, but they're growing bases in both parties. If we get nothing else from Sanders, take heed of the following lesson. Okay, you're going to have to be liberal and proud of it to win an election in a predominantly XY voting reality. And Sanders may consequently be simultaneously ahead of his time and stuck in the past. He might be unstuck in time, maybe even. It's as simple as that right libertarians prefer him over Cruz or Trump, and it's easy to see why if you think about it for a second. It's the Ron Paul voters. Okay, that's why Sanders does better than Clinton. Because, I don't think, if Trump had an anti-establishment streak to him at some point, it's faded, right? Because he caved on issue after issue, right? All of a sudden, he's opposed to abortion. When did that happen? Right? He still holds a couple of perspectives, like on trade and stuff that are appealing, but it's hard to take him seriously. He's probably going to cave on everything, right? I think that if it does end up being Trump versus Clinton, you have to hold out the hope that he won't cave, but the reality is that he probably will cave. Okay? And Cruz is, obviously a front for the bank, right? So, if you're, a Ron Paul voter, and you're all about, end the Fed, well, I think Sanders is going to sound a lot more appealing with, all this, that, against the bank bailouts and all that kind of stuff, right? It's really not hard to understand. I know the media is trying to throw all this stuff about a blank slate and blah, blah, blah. You don't need a complex explanation. It's Occam's razor. Okay, it's as clear as day. Um, his message is more appealing to Republicans than either of the Republican candidates are, and so it's obvious why. All right. Conversely, Clinton's got the whole like people are still people are a lot of conservatives are still upset about the Oklahoma City bombing. Okay. And all the stuff about uh, I'm not even going to get into it, but Clinton is kind of public enemy number one with these people, right? They might not like Trump, they might not like Cruz, but they hate Clinton, right? So that they're going to swing towards Sanders very, very clearly. Um, there might be a small percentage of them that are a little unclear, and that might want to do a cost-benefit analysis, right? He might not want to take away their guns, but he might, on the other hand, want to raise their taxes a little bit for healthcare, right? But if you actually do polling, what you find is that a lot of these right-libertarians are actually in favor of public healthcare if you ask them the question the right way, right? So it's messy, yeah. It's messy regarding language. It's messy regarding policy. Yeah, very messy. But at the end of the day, it's not at all hard to understand why your Ron Paul type Republican would prefer Bernie Sanders over Ted Cruz or Donald Trump, and certainly over Hillary Clinton, right? Not hard to understand at all. So we don't need complex explanations or blank slates. It's absolutely apparent, clear as day.